All right, good evening, everybody. This is Rob and Jordan, and we are back once again for Archangel Inc. Live, number 51. Welcome this evening, Jordan.
How are you doing tonight, Rob?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's good to be here. We are almost at the 1 year mark, so that's exciting. We're nearing that benchmark, and I'm happy about that. And
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. I was chilling out in the comments last week as we had
that's right.
Hassan Osman on. Such a good show. I was happy to be there, just watching and kind of soaking in his wisdom and insight. So if you're watching this at any point, go back and check week 50. Really good stuff in there from Hassan. I was thrilled to be a part of that. So, but yeah, I'm happy to be back this week.
Yeah, welcome back. It's good to have you back. And yes, I'm very grateful. Thank you once again to Hassan for being available and sharing some of his insight and, really great material and information that he puts out there. So glad to have him on and share a little bit with the folks who found us. All right, so this evening, our topic is 15 book launch ideas. So we're going to try and kind of do a quick hitter, go over a bunch of different ones, in our email out to the listserv. We point out that the most common subject of questions, I would say for us, is marketing. Sometimes people have questions about production and design and covers and that kind of thing. But very often, once you have that done and you're actually an author and have something out there, you want to know, well, how the heck am I going to reach my audience? How am I going to enhance my standing, improve my my royalties and build my followership? And so specifically this week, we're going to look at some launch ideas. So what to do when we're actually getting ready to put the book out or right around the time that we're releasing. And again, this idea is going to be kind of just quick hitter. We've got 15 different ones, and we're going to try and cover them all in about 30 minutes. So if any of these are really interesting to you and you're not familiar with them, definitely leave some comments down below and let us know. We can try and expand on them perhaps on future videos, take a little bit of a deeper dive. But I think these could be some things just to kind of get your creative juices flowing. And if you're stuck and not really sure what you can do as an author getting ready to launch a book, then some of these ideas might be a good fit for you.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think sometimes it's good to take a step back and analyze what's working for you, what you have in your plan, and then maybe just one of these will stand out, and you'll think, hey, I can actually add that. I can do that. That's a great idea. That's what we're hoping for with these ideas. Not for you to go and spend a week doing them all, but to pick one or two and add them into what your plan already is. That's what my hope would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So let's just jump right in. The first one, have a virtual book launch. So thoughts on that, Jordan? What is a virtual book launch?
Yeah, it's something that I think people they're doing more and more with COVID and everything that's going on with the pandemic. You can't have, it's more difficult to have book launch parties in person. So yeah, host something online. You can host a live on Facebook, a live on YouTube, or just have a meet. You could even be a small kind of event. Maybe you get 10 friends together and you talk about your book. Anything that you're getting online and discussing your book with people, talking about some of your points. You could do it in webinar form. Anything where you're just getting online, answering questions, talking about your book can be considered a virtual book launch. And especially if you time it and do it when you're doing a lot of your other stuff, it could potentially lead to more sales.
Yeah, I love it. One other idea on that note could be some sort of reading. You can read from the introduction of your book. Sometimes people really like to get a sense of what the content is from the author. So you can read a little bit of an excerpt and start to share, riff on it. If you do have at least a handful of people present that are willing to ask questions and engage with you a little bit, it can be kind of fun and interactive in that way. Because again, we may not be able to host in-person launch parties, but there's still opportunities for connecting and networking and sharing a little bit about this exciting new book that's just come out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Next up, run a giveaway of your print book and or a related item. So what does that look like? If I'm interested, okay, yeah, let's do a giveaway. How do I organize it? What sort of things should I give away if it's in addition to my book? What does that all look like?
Yeah, just some quick thoughts with giveaways. I'm running one right now. I run them pretty frequently. I like doing them because I like giving something away to people. It's something fun that people can share, people can sign up for and join. So I use a WordPress plugin to run these called King Sumo. You may be familiar with that. There are other ones, other plugins or other resources and tools like this. I almost remember the name of a different one, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But they all kind of do a similar thing. They encourage people to share your giveaway, share the giveaway, and if they do so and people enter using their link, they get more. So the whole point is to kind of spread this viral, is to go viral and have people share your giveaway. What I like to do, and I think is an important part of a giveaway, is use it to celebrate something. Use it to celebrate a book launch or a course launch. I'm launching a course right now, so I'm running a giveaway, and I'm saying, hey, this is actually a related thing. I'm giving away a year subscription to Masterclass, and I have an online course that's about personality. So I'm kind of seeing that as, hey, if you're going to be online learning and might enjoy Masterclass, hey, maybe you might be interested in taking my course as well. Even if they're not, it's just a way to just spread a little bit more of the information that my course is out there. I think it does. Another important note with giveaways, real quick, is it does have to relate. So courses to people taking courses online relates to people joining my course. I see that as close enough. Now, maybe you might not want to give away a gift card, or you don't want to launch a book about cats and then do a giveaway to get people tickets into Disneyland or something like that. You don't want it to be so separate that you're going to be attracting a completely different crowd. Now, maybe your crowds do match, and that may not make sense to other people, but whatever you think that your crowd and your people will be interested in, that's what you want to do a giveaway for. Hopefully attracting the right kinds of people in that.
Right. Yeah, that all makes very much sense. Cool. So let's jump on to the next one here, and that is share engaging social media posts, things like the cover reveal, audience questions answered, polls, etc. I had the good fortune, actually, the timing worked out really nicely. I had a conversation with an author that we are going to be helping launch later this month named Matt Norman, and he had ordered some author copies, and I asked if they had arrived. He said, well, they're set to be arrived today. And anyway, in the course of our Zoom meeting, he said, hey, I just got a notification that they're outside my front door. So I was able to actually be present for that. We actually did record it. And so he may end up, using that content, sharing it on social media, just have a little bit of an unboxing and a first look, first impressions kind of experience. But that kind of thing, I think, can be really good. It can be really helpful. It's excitement building, and it's reminding people that your title is out there and getting ready to launch, but it's not directly asking for a sale. It's sort of implied. People know, hey, I would love for you to buy my book, to read it, to download it, etc. But it's also you sharing a positive experience, something that's kind of fun, that's engaging, and again is just putting your content and your book in their minds, for one of those handful, 5 or 10 or 20 times that they need to hear it before they actually get serious about purchasing, even if they are in your target demographic and are ultimately going to be interested in it. So it's a way to do that is not aggressive, that's not, arm twisting and insistent, but instead kind of celebratory and fun and engaging and inviting.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that, Rob. I don't have much to add. I think sometimes, I've gotten stuck when I'm thinking about I want to share my book. I want to let people know that my book's out. So I put in social media, hey, my book's out, and I know that's not the most effective thing. So this is something I want to get even better at and start to do for even my next book launch and try to get people more interested and engaged. And I think of things like thanking people for leaving a review or thanking people for reading, just to get other people involved. Yeah, like you said, it's implied when you're sharing about that, hey, Jordan's probably sharing this because he wants me to go buy his book, but it just feels a little bit better than a direct ask, especially if you're on like Facebook or Instagram and things like that.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Cool. So moving on, we've got go virtual with speaking engagements. There is a post, which the link is there, and we will make it available in the show notes in the description as well. But yeah, having some sort of speaking engagement, kind of like what we were talking about with the virtual launch, but some sort of virtual speaking engagement allows you to potentially reach a number of other people and remind them, hey, there is a book out there, and I'm a thought leader. I have expertise in this particular subject. I have information that you might want to hear. So let me give you a little bit of a taste of that. And then if you're interested, if you want to dive a little bit deeper, get a little bit further, maybe in some cases see examples, workshops, further details, then this book could be a good fit for you.
Yep. I don't have anything more to add with that. I think the post is really helpful for thinking about that. And just go for it. There's definitely opportunity out there right now with everything that's going on. People they still want to host events. People still want to do things that you can't do in person. So think about how you can maybe work in, especially if you're comfortable on video, you're comfortable on lives. It might be just a natural kind of segue for you.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. Podcasting. Podcasting is still alive and well. So get on podcasts and outreach with outreach and networking. So I think this is another good example. We've talked about this. I've used this term before, which I am pilfering from Derek Depker, and that is follow the leader. So if you have other people who are thought leaders in your field, if you're kind of a peer to, look what podcasts they've appeared on. If, for example, I'm interested in going on authorship podcasts or, talking about writing and publishing, maybe I'll look up Steve Scott. Steve Scott is an expertise or has expertise in that arena. He had his own podcast dealing with that. And, I can say, hey, has Steve appeared on other podcasts as well? And those podcasts that he may have appeared on, if they're still out there, there's a decent chance that they might be interested in having you on as a guest as well, if you have especially a new book coming out on that subject, dealing with this kind of thing. So following their example, because you're creating helpful, ideally, engaging and useful content for the audience of the podcast producers, for the video stream producers, etc. But it's also obviously helping to cross promote and share with that audience what you're producing, which may have some interest and value to them.
Yep. Good stuff.
Cool. Moving on, we've got plan to give away free print copies to local bookstores, coffee shops, libraries, etc. So what does that look like, Jordan?
Yeah, I think I've had author mentors, tell me this pretty consistently across the board. Hey, just plan to give away at least 10% of your books just to random people, to bookstores, coffee shops. Always have them with you. That's been a little bit more difficult for me to have the books with me this year as I've been traveling around, but it's something I definitely want to do. I'm going to make it a priority, and I'm going to carry a couple of my books around with me, even if I have to just carry them on the plane with me and hand them out to people. That's something I'm going to do. So just thinking about that, thinking about having your book with you, handing out to people when you're meeting new people for the first time, going to different places. I think you can go into like we have in here. You can go into local bookstores, coffee shops, libraries. And just be open, talk about your book. I think that's one of the biggest, one of the most helpful things in marketing is just thinking about just putting yourself out there and going and sharing about your book. It's one of those things that's it's not necessarily quantifiable. You could go out to just a couple bookstores and not have any luck, but you could go out to one coffee shop, have a really good connection, and then find an in with a speaking engagement or something. You never know. Until you go out there and talk with people in that way. So it can be really effective.
Yeah, I love that. And I've known examples of authors who will offer to put on presentations and events at local community centers, at libraries. In many cases, libraries and community centers are good options for that kind of thing, because they're looking for people to present in their, in the neighborhood, in the sort of local area. It's a point of pride. In many cases, they'll be willing to feature it, especially if you're willing to donate a copy you can put up, from local author Rob Archangel, local author Jordan Ring, and, have perhaps underneath, we're going to be talking about such and such, this Sunday at 7 p.m. Come on in. And it's a way to promote yourself, to talk about your material, to hone your practice. And it's also a relatively low risk way to do that, I would say, because libraries, in many cases, they don't have, big speakers. You don't have to compete with Elon Musk coming in and taking over your local library. Whereas you might, if you're launching something and talking about something on YouTube at the same time, maybe he's on there, who knows? But a situation like that, it's easier for you to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond and stand out in that way. So great opportunity to, again, network and get your material out there, and perhaps find people who are really going to become your super fans.
Yep, good stuff.
All right. So moving on. build a launch team that will review and be your ambassador for the book. So we talked about that a little bit before about building your launch team. Anything you want to share in summary on that, Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just in summary, when you're thinking about building your launch team, I think the word ambassador is really good there, because you're trying to build people out, connect with people that not only leave a review for your book, but will then go ahead and share that, share your book on social media and be kind of pushing your book forward. And again, we'll talk in the last one, the most important one. I'm not going to give it away, but it definitely relates there. But yeah, it's really, you're just thinking about, you're thinking about hundreds of people. You have hundreds of people, great, but it doesn't have to be. It can be a small number, 5 to 10 people that you're just going to connect with, get feedback from, and then on launch day, hey, I'm launching this thing, help me out as much as you can. I'd really appreciate it. And then in that, think about how you can give back and how you can do what you can do for them. Maybe they're an author, maybe you can help them with a book review on your blog or something like that. It doesn't have to be, we talked before, you don't necessarily want to do review swaps with other authors, but there's always ways to share and help in that way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think the impact of somebody else saying, hey, buy this other person's book versus you saying, hey, buy my book, it's different. It's perceived differently, probably for good reason. And if you have a handful of those people who really believe in it and want to get ahead of the curve and put your book out there, it can be really powerful in expanding your reach beyond what you'd be able to do as the author of the title.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Consider paid advertising to jumpstart sales. So we've discussed this a little bit. Amazon advertising is going to be probably the best option if you are selling your book on Amazon. Part of that has to do with the way the platform is set up for buyers. A lot of times people go over to places like YouTube because they want to learn something, or Google because they're just trying to get a little bit of background information. If you're on Amazon, if you're searching on Amazon, you sort of are already anticipating that there's going to be something for sale. There are free things there. Obviously, we've talked about that a little bit, perma-free books, etc. But if you're on Amazon, the expectation is, hey, I'm interested in this topic or this product enough that I'm willing to see how much it's available for, where I can find it, what the reviews are, all of that. So when you are using paid advertising, that can be a way to get in front of more eyes, and then also from your perspective as the author, get a little bit more background information on who actually is making sales, what sorts of keywords and categories are actually resonating with your readers in a way that you wouldn't have access to when you are using the regular dashboard.
Yep. The only thing I'll add with that is I love advertising because it's something you can work on, set it to the side, let it do its thing, and then you can jump and do other things as well. For me, it's just another method of sharing my book and getting it out there.
Yeah, love it. Cool. Moving on. Connect with book bloggers using Google search. So we've talked about that just a little bit a moment ago about offering not review swaps necessarily, or at least not on Amazon, but you are permitted to do review swaps if you have your own website and somebody else has their own website. So if you are writing in the same genre as somebody, so again, I'd use the example of Steve Scott writing about authorship and publishing. If I have a guest post for Steve and Steve decides that he'd like to promote, one of our titles, something that I've just put out, I can also in turn write a review and recommend his material as a good resource. These are opportunities for networking, for collaboration, for borrowing and enhancing the experience of the audience that they have already built up.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Let's see, moving on. Create new content for your platform or start to build one if you don't already have one. So we've talked a little bit about platform building and all of that, but thoughts on that, Jordan?
No, I just think it's a good idea to start thinking about, if you don't already have a platform, think about what you want to do to start creating that. But then it doesn't have to be this like, okay, I need to make this platform. What do I do? It can start with just creating new content, serving your audience, thinking about what's going to best suit their needs, whether it's videos, whether it's blogs, whether it is YouTube or Facebook Lives. It depends on your genre, your audience, and what you want to share. But I think just starting to create content wherever you are, especially if you're launching a book, doing content, or launching anything, launching a book or a course, doing content that's surrounded to that shows that you're knowledgeable, can really be beneficial. We talk a lot about, the whole marketing standard of you need 7, or people need to see things 7 times from you. That's going to really factor in if you're continuing to share about it, showing that you're knowledgeable, bringing people in, and then just have that continued exposure. It's going to be easier to say, oh yeah, I trust this guy. He knows what he's talking about. I'm going to buy this book, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to get value out of it, and all that.
Yep. No, I agree. If you have your book, if you're just getting ready to launch and you're kind of unsure about what to do, then definitely this is as good a time as any to enhance your offerings, enhance ways for people to begin to know, like, and trust you if they are not already part of your super fan club. And that can be a good way to, not just now, but going forward into the future, build that followership and establish yourself as an authority in your field, as somebody that is worth purchasing the book from. All right. Next one. Make sure your entire web presence points to your book: email signature, blog header, Facebook profile, etc. I think this is a good one. I mean, if you think about what a funnel is, not just sales funnel and internet terminology, but a funnel in general, right? It has a wider base, and then it's all directing to, a single point. If you're funneling in your apple cider, from a big gallon jar into a small bottle, then you're taking something that's really wide, coming from different places, and putting it all into a single directed spot. And that's what you're doing with your existing presence here. So your email signature, some people who might never see your website are going to exchange emails with you. Direct those people over. People who are on your blog and don't have access to your personal email, you want to direct those people over to the same place. Same thing with Facebook, same thing with Instagram, any other social media accounts that you have. Now is as good a time as any to create basically a big wide net and direct them all, funnel them all toward your book sales page. Because again, that 7 times, those people, they may know about it, they may have heard about it, but every time they click on there, okay, that's one more reminder, that's one more step closer to actually making that purchase.
Yeah, I think this is just super cool. This is one of those things you can think about when you're like, okay, I'm in marketing mode. What do I do? Yeah, start to think about all your different, even if you're just starting out, you're probably in several areas, and you're probably in more places than you think you are. Adding it to your Instagram bio. It could be that someone hears about your book for the 3rd time, goes home, forgets that they heard about it, and they're like, oh yeah, I wanted to see. I'm going to go check out Jordan on Instagram. I'm going to look at his profile. He probably has a link there. Potential missed opportunity if you don't. You never know if that's going to be the case or not, but just thinking about that continued exposure and making it easy for people without bombarding them with buy my book links over and over again.
Right, exactly. Great point. Let's continue on here. Another thing you can do, spend time interacting with others on social media before posting about your book. So obviously, if the launch is already underway, maybe now is not the best time to do it, but you can still engage with them. You can still get to know them a little bit and try and relate to them on a shared interest level, or being a part of a particular community level, rather than leading with, hey, this is Rob Archangel. Here's my book. It's more, hey, what can I do for you? Yeah, I've done that before. I've set up a KDP ad before. I've set up I've published this number of books, or I've been through the audiobook production channel before, and you can actually kind of engage with your information. And then later on, after you've established that connection, then maybe every so often you can mention, oh, hey, by the way, yeah, if you're interested in this, my book is here. Here's the link. Thoughts on any of that, Jordan?
No, it's and something else is really good. It's not good just for relationships and engagement, which that's super important. But it's good for algorithms too. If you're thinking about Facebook, if you're going and posting on other people's things, they're more likely to see your stuff. It's not great to do it for that reason, but just thinking about, okay, I'm going to go and interact with people and hopefully just enhance my presence a little bit so that, people interact with me. And I admit I have a harder time with this. I love people, but I don't necessarily love social media. It's hard for me to want to be on there and scroll and comment. But I know, if I want people to interact with me, why would I expect them to do that if I'm just going to scroll past their posts and not even hit the like button? So thinking about things like that, if you're thinking, hey, I didn't get any likes in this past post. Well, how many how many posts have you liked recently? And not just because of the people, but because of the algorithms too, and how that all works.
Right. Yep. Great insight. Next up, another idea, double check that your sales page looks okay. And, you want it to look good. You want it to look sharp. If you have any editorial reviews, are they up there? Do you have your author central page built out? Is your description rendered with the appropriate HTML, or is it one big block? Do you have everything, in as good of a shape as possible leading up to it? Because if you direct people over to that page, you want to capture their attention and bring them along into that sales experience, that positive experience, so that they make the sale. If you have anything that's not dialed in just yet, now's a great time to dial it in, so that when you actually do find those people and do send them over to your page, you're going to maximize the likelihood that they will make that buying decision.
Yeah, I think this is really important that we have this here, Rob. I know we probably mention it on every one of our lives, but I mean, I was on the page of a pretty well-known author just today, and he had he or she, I won't give it out, they had two different author pages, and the one was linking to like a basic author page, and then the other was like to the actual page, which was fine. But just think about things like that. Sometimes things break, sometimes things don't match up. And most likely no one's going to check and fix that for you. So just be wary that things might change. So go ahead and double check your pages, make sure everything looks good, so you can be aware of any issues.
Yeah, I'll give another example from Matt Norman, whose book is coming out later this month. When his book was first launched, it takes a little while for it to populate, and then once you have that book populated, you can set up your Author Central account. However, it automatically assigned his book to another author by the same name. And he said, hey, it's showing up on this other person's page. What can we do? And so it was a fairly simple fix. We contact Amazon and inform them, hey, actually, I'd like to claim this title as our own, and not assign it to this other author. In fact, this is, my title, not this other person's. But, that's something that if you're launching, and not giving yourself adequate time and you haven't gotten everything dialed in, you might accidentally be sending people over to your sales page, but they click onto your author page. It turns out it's somebody else's, and they might purchase other books thinking that they're supporting you, when in fact you're not that same person. So just an easy example of the benefit of checking and making sure that your sales page is all dialed in.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, Rob, but I've seen many other things. I feel like I've seen everything except for that. So yeah. Anything can happen, anything could change. Definitely worth double checking your links. This is kind of an aside, but checking any redirects you have on your website. I know I have to do that constantly because things change, they mess up. Right. Especially if you're going to share a link during a launch, you want to make sure that it works. Check it on multiple browsers, check it on an incognito tab, things like that. Just to make sure that other people aren't going to have any issues. There always will be issues, so expect that there will be issues, but do what you can to minimize those.
Right, exactly. Cool. Let's continue moving here. Start an email list and provide fun and interesting stories or content for your readers. So again, ideally you'll have that set up beforehand and have that all in place. But if you're launched and you're wondering about what to do, how to generate more interest and how to build your business, increase your royalties, build your brand, etc., then start an email list. There are free options out there. We've talked about some of those before. There are a number of paid options as well. People, there's no shortage of possibilities there, but now is as good a time as any to build that base and build that direct connection with your audience. Because again, with your Amazon sales page in particular, whoever buys it, it's opaque to you. You don't know who's actually purchased it. Whereas your email address, you actually have the contact information for those people. Most people are going to open their email at least every few days or so, if not more often than that. And so you can actually get directly in their ear rather than hoping that maybe they show up back again on your Amazon author page, in 6 months when your new book is out.
Yep, you got it.
Cool. All right, and the final one is write a good book. Word of mouth is as the bread and butter of marketing. Make sure your book is top notch. So this is what we were teasing earlier, and it's sort of self-explanatory. Put as much work as you can into making the book really good, and then release it out to the world. This makes it easier to find ambassadors, makes it easier to run advertisements, because people who are finding it and reading it ideally are writing positive reviews about it because the book is actually top notch. that is the key. One of the best ways to make sure that your book is as successful as it can be, is to have a good book and to really put effort into that. There's no twisting the arms of readers. If the content isn't strong, isn't there, people will not engage with it. People will not resonate with it and fall in love with it. So everything that you can do to make sure that they fall in love with it, they really find meaning in what you're talking about, do that ahead of time so that your launch can be as successful as possible.
Yeah, it makes every step in the marketing process easier. It makes it easier for people to follow through with reviews. People want to write good reviews for a really good book, especially if it happened to impact them. I've had reviewers in the past say, yeah, sure, I'll read the book. And I get a response and they're like, actually, this was great. Like, this came at a perfect time when all I wanted was a review. Now I'm happy to have affected them in a positive way. So, and that's only going to happen if the book is your best. So super, super valuable and very important.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, let's go to closing thoughts here. Went over 15 different book launch ideas. What are your favorite launch ideas? Anything that we didn't cover that you've tried that maybe has worked before or that you'd like to incorporate going forward? We'd be happy to hear it. Definitely leave some thoughts and comments down below, and let us know too if any of these are new to you and you think, yeah, that might be worth trying. We'd love to hear about it, hear what resonated with you, and hear if you're able to incorporate any of them, what your results were.
Yep, good stuff. I'm excited for you guys. Definitely just keep us posted. Let us know what you think. And yeah, this was a fun one.
Absolutely. All right, great. Well, thanks, Jordan. Thank you, everybody out there. Make sure to like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff to let Amazon know or let YouTube know that you like what we're doing. And we will catch you folks next time.
Amazon will know too, Rob. You know it.
Exactly. All right. Take care, everybody.